Check. And we live. Looks like it's just your man Emcee Ski tonight, the homie Kava. Hello. Oh, we live, but are you looking for somebody? For Jack? Oh, I'm not sure. He might be in the back. What's up, bro? Good to see you. I just started a little early.
Do you mind if I hit the can real quick? Is that all right?
Oh, no, go ahead. So just go out this way, go down the hallway, and there's a whole bunch on your left.
Thank you so much. I'll be right back.
All right. What's going on, Vancouver? It's your man, K-Ski. Like I said, the homie Kavawon, he won't be able to make it tonight. He's on the island working, getting that money. You know, in the words of the famous poet 50 Cent, get that money, man. And the homie Kostia, the Croatian, but the Ukrainian sensation, he's busy, just working, studio, family. Hopefully we'll get him back in here to engineer, because right now it's just your man trying to put everything together. So we got a great show tonight. We got the homie Nigel. Hopefully DJ K-Rec can make it through. But if not, you know, we got the homie Nigel. He's going to come back up here. And we're going to talk new project that he has coming out. And we also going to talk about, him telling his story. And we're going to talk about some mental health, since he is a therapist. So like I said, once again, it's your man, K-Ski. And summer is over. You know, it seemed like you blinked and summer was gone. But it's beautiful, beautiful weather today. You know, even though we got the little fog from the smoke. Not sure. I've heard different stories. I heard there's smoke down in Washington. I heard there's smoke in the interior. But wherever it's coming from, it's here. Kind of messes up your eyes and everything. But so yeah, just to get y'all caught up, the first Thursday of every month, Beyond the Lyrics, we rocking on Bside.Radio here at the Beaumont Studios. Shout out to Beaumont Studios. They do so much for the creatives in the community. All types of studios and places back here to have shows and to work on your craft. So shout out to Beaumont Studio for having a place like this for where creatives can go. Mm-hmm. And we got the man of the hour.
I don't know about that. I'm a man of some hours. You know what I'm saying?
So we got the homie Nigel in the house.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Where's the camera? Where am I supposed to look?
Right there.
There it is. I got to get the link for the live stream from you so I can share this. I didn't. You got.
Oh yeah. But it goes up on the next day. They put it up on YouTube.
Okay.
So it'll be up on YouTube, and people can go check it out on the playback.
Right. Thank you so much for having me, K-Ski, man. Big shout outs.
Hey.
Beaumont Studios. Big shout outs. Bside.Radio. Beyond the Lyrics, man. It's an honor. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's, man, when we had the show at the record store and you got up there and did your thing, I was like, okay, we got to get my man on the show, because it was dope. And also what caught because you're a therapist, right?
I am.
Yeah.
I am indeed.
And what also caught my attention is when you told the crowd how many people out here go to therapy. And most of the people raised their hands and were screaming and stuff. And then you asked about mental health and people were like, yeah, I was like, okay, this is different, because back in the day.
It's a different time with that.
Yeah.
It really
you know.
is. Even in my own lifetime, even in my adulthood, right? Like I've seen such a huge shift in that.
Yeah. I was just talking to some coworkers about that, like how it used to be taboo.
Yeah.
To talk about those things. But before we jump into that, we're gonna lighten the mood a little bit, and we're gonna talk about music. So what do you go by as far as MC name? Is it just...
So it's funny that you asked that, because this has been a debate I've been having with myself for a minute. So I was young Nige before, but I'm 39. Right, I'm turning 40 next year.
Okay, you don't look it.
So I was like, thank you, but I was like, I can't. At what point does that moniker become a little obsolete, right? Like, at what point do I got to change up? So now I'm just going with Nige.
Okay.
Just Nige. Right? My name is Nigel. And you know, there's rappers named Nigel out there in the world, but they often will pick something else for their rap name, right? Because that's not necessarily a cool name. It's a very old British name that I went through my whole life thinking that there was a country called England where there was Nigels everywhere. Because out here you don't meet too many Nigels. And then I went traveling for the first time when I was young, and I met a lot of English people, and I was like, oh, you must have Nigels everywhere back home. Like, I bet there's all kinds of Nigels. And they were like, nah, like no one's named their kid Nigel in like 50 years. Like they're like, that's an old that's a very like antiquated name. So just Nige now for the raps. I thought about, you know, switching it up, giving myself a alias, and maybe I will, right? One day, maybe either as a different character or just I'll find something that feels really like authentic to me. But at the moment, that's what people call me. They say, hey, Nige. What's going on, Nige? Like, people love Young Nige. I found, like, when I would tell people, oh, my name's Young Nige, everyone would want to call me that. Everyone would be like, Young Nige, Young Nige. But I just was kind of like, how, like, it would almost be a joke now. If I can't, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what's funny you said that, because when you think about all the littles out there, like Lil Wayne. So what happened when he turned 50 up?
Right. At least Lil Wayne is still physically.
Well, at least he can go with that. But I guess young Nige, and you like 50, you get 50 years old, you ain't young, you know what I mean?
Not so much. I mean, compared to, I guess, you know, someone older, right? I'm the youngest I'm ever going to be.
Well, you know, I call myself a young old head, so...
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel, bro, for real. Like, I feel the same way, young at heart, right? And that's where it matters. That was always what the young meant to me. It was always a state of mind, more than like, I'm young. Like, I was the youngest guy in my crew. Like, I was hanging out with K-Reg. We had a group with another guy named Lolux, a.k.a. Josh. And those dudes are both 10 years older than me. And, like, our other good homies were all, like, a decade older. So I was kind of that young dude. But for me, it was always... An attitude.
That's dope.
Like, not taking things too seriously, having an expansive sense of possibility, really like believing that a different reality is possible than the one that maybe we see in front of us. Like, that to me is like what the young part was about. Is really just believing that, like, hey, things can change, we can change. There's more maybe to the world than we are given credit for. Like that, like, I don't know, growth mindset, I guess. I
kind of feel like you should do a song talking about that. That's a dope concept. Because I do like the Young Nige when you break it down like that. But then when you say, okay, I dropped it, you know what I mean? Because it's like Buckshot Shorty from Boot Camp. He's like Buckshot, no more Shorty or something like that. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like allow me to reintroduce myself.
Yes.
My name is Nige.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So since we talking about that, who got you or what got you interested in hip hop?
That's a good question, because I feel like my path into it was maybe different from a lot of people's. I didn't grow up listening to hip hop. I was really into punk rock, was like the first music that really I got super behind as like a teenager. And, you know, when you're a teenager, that's when you're like a power consumer of music. You got nothing but time. My Discman was full of like Epitaph Records, No Effects, Bad Religion, Rancid. Like, you know, I was like, I love punk rock music. And then I kind of got into like classic rock and singer-songwriter stuff from there. I always liked a lot of different music. Like when I got into soul and funk and R&B, that really hit hard. But I was literally at a house party, and this guy came up to me and he was like, "Hey, bro, I heard you rap. Like, let's rap, let's freestyle." And I didn't know what he was talking about. Dead ass. I had no clue. Can we swear on you?
Yeah. Okay.
Dead ass had like no fucking clue what this guy was talking about. And he was like, "Bro," and he kept on me. He's like, "No, I know you rap, man. Like, I know you're just being shy right now." And I literally was just like, "I'm sorry, I think you've got the wrong person." And he kept on me. And finally, literally after this guy just kind of hounded me, I was like, "All right, fine. You want to rap so bad, like, let's go." Like, I've never freestyled before in my life. I'd had a couple hip hop albums that, you know, people gave me burned CDs. I grew up in the 90s, right? So it's like burned CDs back then. Someone gave me ATLiens by Outkast. Love that album.
That's a good one to get.
Still one of my, still one of my favorite, like, albums, period, right? And like another album, like, but really it was not my main bread and butter, but I was like, all right, fine, I'll rap with you, bro. Like, and so we went, and he put on a CD of instrumentals, like Tribe Called Quest and instrumentals from that area. And me and this guy like freestyled there in the corner of this party till everyone went home.
Wow.
We freestyled in that corner till 2, 3 in the morning after everyone's gone. We freestyled for hours. And that guy, and I fell in love. For real. Like, I was just like, I don't know what this is, but this is crazy to me, right? Like, the way this feels is crazy.
So was the rhymes just coming to you? Like, yeah?
And I mean, like, I love poetry. I love language. I love to talk. Like, you know, I'm a yapper. Like, you know what I mean? And I get it. Like, as a therapist, my job is to talk to people, right?
Yeah.
So I think there were parts of it that came naturally, but I didn't identify as a hip-hop fan or MC.
Yeah.
It just happened, and me and that guy would freestyle almost every night for, like, months after that. He'd pick me up. I was washing dishes at, like, a cheesecake restaurant not too far from here on, like, Granville, just on the south side of the bridge. He'd pick me up, and we'd drive in his car to the beach, and he'd put on beat CDs in the car, and we'd sit in the car and freestyle like every night. And that was like my introduction to rapping, was freestyle, all freestyle.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then a couple of years, like, you know, maybe a year or so later, I met my group mate Josh, Low Lux. Big shout out Josh, and he really helped me get to the next level.
Okay.
Because just off the natural sort of ability, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a dick, but like I was kind of the best guy in, like, you know what I mean? In my little group at the beginning. Yeah. And then when I met Josh, he was way better than me, and he'd been doing it for years, and I could tell he was way better than me right away. And that was where I was like, oh, okay, you actually need to like dig deep and push yourself to get nice. And then we started a group, and we made 5 albums together. K-Rec joined the group early on, you know, and we made 5 albums, the 3 of us together. Our group was called Friends with the Help.
Oh, that's dope. So are you originally from Vancouver?
Grew up, born and raised.
Okay, one of the few.
One of the few.
Because I was implants, and I'm from Alberta. I'm from here. I'm from there. I'm from New Jersey. So you know.
You're from Jersey.
Yeah.
I'm watching The Sopranos right now.
If my wife hear that, she gonna laugh. She gonna like, Yeah. I tell you, Jersey's ghetto, whatever. But it's funny you said punk rock, because I always felt like hip hop and punk rock were cousins. Because back in the day when hip hop was trying to get out there, people were shutting it down, and it seemed like that looked like that might be K-Rec. It seemed like only punk rock had accepted hip hop in the earlier, because it was kind of counterculture.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I can see you going from punk rock to, let me check out this. And like you said, if one of the first CDs you got was Outkast,
ATLiens, that one in particular.
That's a dope introduction.
Yeah. I
hip-hop.
Still remember so much of that. Like, I remember the way those lyrics hit, and you know, I'd just never heard anything like that, because I wasn't coming to it after having listened to all the music that came before. Yeah. Right? I was coming to that, hearing that without hearing Tribe Called Quest, without hearing Dungeon Family and Goody Mob, without hearing, you know what I mean, Scarface. I was just coming in there. And I just remember it was like this mix of like poetry and like sci-fi and like all this stuff that I liked. And
soul music too.
Music.
Yeah. So any other earlier influences that got you
so
into
many. I got, hey Les.
What's up?
Hey Kent. Yeah, you're here. Get in here.
Be careful. Be careful.
Row. DJ K-Rec. Leslie, what's your hip hop moniker, Leslie?
Meaning.
Like, what should do we just call you Leslie? Like, do you have a cool nickname?
I don't know.
Hi.
What's up, homie?
But other early influences, so another guy burned me a CD, you know, Brother Ali from Rhyme Sayers? Yeah, from Minneapolis.
Yeah, Brother Ali, I like his stuff.
Yeah, so he put me on, a friend put me onto that, and that was like Shadows on the Sun was an album I
remember that,
would spin over and over again and learn so much about Islam, learn so much about rap, learn so much about the Midwest, because it's very regional, right? Like what he does, like he's not trying to make it sound like New York, or not trying to make it sound like the South. Like he's really trying to make it sound like Minnesota, you know, and rapping about that. I mean, atmosphere maybe even more so. And that was all the same.
Same.
So those were like the early kind of like albums that got me into hip hop. And the cool thing about that was all pre-internet. That was literally people burning me a CD saying, hey, check this out.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And so that was like, yeah, young people now don't understand like what it was like where to get music, someone had to kind of give it to you, or you had to go buy it at HMV or, you know, Sound the Record Man or whatever.
For real, HMV. Ooh, you took it back there. So since you told your story about freestyling and that's how you got into it, so were you in your like teens when you started?
Not even. I was like 20.
You were 20.
I was like 19 maybe at that house party I told you about. I was maybe 19 years old. So this really, I came to it late. Like everyone else I know who is like really into making rap or just listening to rap started as a teenager.
Yeah.
Or even younger. I'm sure you yourself.
15.
Yeah, K-Rec has told me, you know, stories about like, you know, crossing the border to get Wu-Tang, you know, 36 Chamber when it wasn't available here. Like, no, I really genuinely came to it late.
Yeah.
You know, late for rap. It's like a sport, right? You know, all the best boxers, you know them now. They started fighting when they were 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know what I mean? They were. That's why they all know each other. Is because they went through the amateurs together. They went through the circuit together as teenagers. But for me, I genuinely came to it. Yeah, as a young adult.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you said once you got into it, you made records. How long was that? Like when you started that freestyle to when you started
making like actual
records.
K-Rec, when did do you remember what year the first Friends mixtape was? Like 2010, 2011. So yeah, maybe 4 years, probably. Three, 4 years of freestyling. We made like really shitty mixtapes. Like we'd record in someone's house, like 2-3 songs, and then burn like a bunch of copies and like write the, you know, the track list on the.
But you gotta appreciate that. That's like part of your grind.
Totally. Well, it's funny. Me and K-Rec are making this album now, and I'm putting it up on DistroKid and doing all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, thinking about that is so funny. Now in the context of what we have. Yeah. Right? DistroKid, they had an AI thing. They'll master your record for $8. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, do you want us to digitally master your record? Is it $8.99? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we were literally recording in closets and burning CDs. And like, I remember I thought I was high tech because I got a stamp made at a print shop. And then you get the ink pad and I'd stamp each individual. I bought CDs with a white paper kind of cover on the top, and I'd stamp them, and I was like, look at this professional bullshit.
You get the stack of CDs, blank CDs, and 25, 50 pack.
Yeah, and I remember stamping it and being like, that looks nice, man. That looks real official. Now it's like so ill, right?
It's part of the grind. I mean, you know, there's some plus and minuses with all the streaming. Yeah. But yeah, I remember those days of the CDs and just.
When did have you been lifelong with this shit, or like what was your kind of entry point?
Well, for me, it was actually breaking.
No way.
Yeah. So, funny story. I started popping. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it was this dude in junior high. In Trenton, New Jersey, Junior 3. They call it Jungle 3. So my man was the illest popper in the school. Yeah. And I was just learning. Uh-huh. And my man Dennis went to him and said, yo, Kev want to battle you.
Ha, yeah.
Man, so we go in the bathroom, and he's like, okay, who go first? He's like, I go first. He did his thing, and then he went to take a leak. He didn't even look at me do my...
Yeah, he's like... Mic drop.
For real, mic drop. And then as soon as I tried to do my first move, everybody was like, I was like, wow. Yeah. But it was breakdancing. And then my boy Jay Meek, he got some equipment and I started listening. And then my man James Botley too, he had the rapping Duke. That's why it resonated with me when Biggie said, "Remember rapping Duke,
never thought hip hop." Yeah,
take it this far because what I did was I took his lyrics, rapping Duke, and I changed them around and put my name in it.
Nice. What'd you say?
I can't remember that.
Yeah,
at 40 years ago. So,
okay.
But actually, my man James Botley still has the cassette tapes. So
amazing.
Yeah. My man, shout out Bside J. He's got all our cassettes from recording back in the 85, 86, 87.
Dude, so, I was born in 86. That's crazy. That's crazy.
See what he did to me?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it. I got in because it was It was hip hop. It was Beat Street. When I saw Beat Street, I was like,
yeah,
that's me. That's me all day. And then
I had that with Style Wars, with Beat Street. That's where I was like, that helped me recognize that this is more than just this rapping, right?
Yeah.
Like that there's like a whole culture, a real context.
Yeah.
This isn't just the art that you see at face value. Like there's like, it almost lands totally different out of context.
Yeah.
Right? And then once you learn more about the context, you're like, oh, okay, that's why this is so personal. That's why this hits on that like deeply emotional level.
Yeah.
Is because it's real.
Yeah.
Right? This is not just cool words over a beat.
Yeah.
Saying shit that sounds cool.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think, when you say you were 19 or 20, so was that the groups that was out? Was that the music that was out? Outkast, ATLians?
Nah, when I was 19 or 20, I was born in 86, so I was 19 or 20 in, 2005. I was growing up in the G Unit, Eminem.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Jay-Z.
Yeah. You was growing up in that era.
That era,
Okay,
like
okay.
Cash Money, No Limit, like that was Bad Boy, like yeah, no,
Take
that
that.
was much
Take
more.
that.
Yeah, take that.
I don't know what you're saying now, but there go.
Yeah, I know. I always feel weird about that. I'm like, man, I wish he didn't have to rap in so many songs. You know what I mean? Because he never was the best verse.
Right, yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm like listening to like Fabulous, and I'm just like, like second verse comes on, you're just gonna like turn it down a little bit, wait for it to.
Man, like so many records from the 90s, like you said, and it wasn't just him rapping on it, but just hit him in the background.
Yeah.
Bad boy.
Yeah, just being real ominous.
So yeah, for real. A new meaning now, but yeah, now when you driving and you get those throwbacks and you like, and then you hear and you like, this.
Right.
Damn
right.
you.
Yeah, I know. Fucking goddamn half the Aaliyah catalog is ruined because it was, written by R. Kelly.
Yeah. But so okay, early 2000, yeah, you definitely came in. So it was hyper commercialized.
I didn't even know what rap was, though. Me and K-Rec have talked about this. When Hi, My Name Is came out, I didn't know that it was a rap song. I thought it was like No Sex in the Champagne Room. I thought it was like comedy, literally, because I didn't know much about rap music.
Yeah.
And here's this guy making all these jokes. Like, I didn't identify that as like a rap song.
Yeah.
I thought it was like the Sunscreen song.
Yeah.
Literally, you know what I mean? Like, the Sunscreen song, that song about, what was that Sunscreen song called, Kent? That you like always wear sunscreen. Yeah, the wear sunscreen song where it's just kind of like someone talking about, or like I thought it was like Bloodhound Gang, like you and me, baby, ain't nothing but man. I thought it was like that. I thought it was like jokes.
Yeah,
because I was so unversed.
Kind of like the rapping Duke.
Right, yeah.
Which was pretty much a joke.
Just at the time.
Yeah, man. My name, when that came out, My Name Is, it was just like. It was like, okay, it's funny, but you recognize there were skills there. You know what I mean?
Super
nice. Yeah. Hi, kids. Do you like violence?
Yeah.
Do you want me to stick 9-inch
nails to each
one of my eyelids? You like, because right then and there, you're like, okay, he's using different rhymes that
like really tight.
Yeah.
Really tight rhymes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that what was so amazing about what he did was he could write a song that would hit someone who had no literacy around rap like me, or just some, random kid in X neighborhood in X town, and also be recognized by hip hop as being really skilled. Really good. Right? Like that to me is the genius of Eminem at the beginning. It was the breadth of the appeal, right? Was like nothing else.
Yeah. And I gotta always big up Eminem because some of his favorite rappers are from New Jersey, like Redman and
not correct. Sorry, I mean Tretch.
Yep, Tretch. Yeah.
Redman. Yeah.
And there's another guy, Young Z. I think he was on the Fugees album, and I think he was married to what's her name, Harriet. I forgot his name, but I think it's Young Z because Eminem used to run with them. This group in New Jersey, so. Got to give it up to him because he's always show love to Jersey. But okay, so you came in
the one that really
2000s.
got me though was, I know this is late for this group, but Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys was one of those songs that would, because it was much music, right? Music videos like MTV, but for Canada. And I remember I didn't know that was rap either. you know. But I remember that one was like, I would just be so pumped when that song would come on, and I didn't know what it was that I liked about it. I just like, you know, just the way they would like yell each other's like last line. Well, now don't you tell me to smile. You know, like I don't know. It was just so, the feeling was so crazy.
That was one of my first cassettes, the Bside Boys. I remember listening to it on the way to school.
Yeah.
On my Walkman.
Yeah.
And that first album was definitely a classic.
Yeah.
Hold it now, hit it. Yeah, Bside Boys. So tell us a little bit about your creative process. Has it changed? I'm pretty sure it's evolved over time. So
Definitely.
Before, it seemed like you came in it as a freestyle.
Yeah.
So did you start to learn how to craft songs back then, or was it over?
No, it took a little while. Like it took meeting my homie Josh to have a reason to write songs, right? Like, I don't know. I just felt like just left to my own devices. I did a few solo songs on my own, but I really think I learned to write with him. Our first song we did was this kind of trading back and forth song.
Okay.
We re-recorded it with Kent way later, K-Rec, in the building, by the way. I don't know if the camera can see him. I'm just checking. No, he's hidden behind
He's
Keith's
talking about,
right
he's waving. You can see him a little bit.
Our first one we did was kind of like a back and forth, so it was almost like we were freestyling. We jump, 2 bars, and then the next person jumps in with 2 bars that go off that. But I would say from there, I got into writing in a much more structured way, where I would really be, kind of mapping, trying to get the syllables out, and it was very like structured. And I felt like I had to go quite far into that direction to now come back to where I write now in a way that is a lot closer to freestyle. So what I do now is K-Rec will give me a bunch of beats. I'll put them in my headphones. I'll go for a walk. And I will just kind of freestyle, like, just sounds, like, then you find some words, and then you find some words that work, and they fit with the beat, and they fit with the sound, and then it's like, boom, okay, that's a line, or that's 2 lines, and then I just look for the next couple lines off that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more like freestyle, where you're really just trying to get what goes nice off the last thing you said, right? You're not thinking too far, whereas I think I had to go so far the other way, where it was like, the exigent pessimist with my decadence is hellish sick, and now I'm looking at elegance through my lenses with my you know what I mean? Really like just like multis with it. I feel like I've come back from that, and I'm back to like doing it with more of a freestyle spirit, where I just like kind of really focus on what sounds good more than like
and what
how technical it is,
and the vibe the beat gives you. Yeah.
The vibe, the beat. So I really listen to the beat, and I sit with the beat, and I kind of mumble out and hum to the beat, and I like really listen to what gives you that feeling, that like feeling where you're like, you spit a rhyme, and it's like, or even just a sound like a scat, and you're like, that's that felt good, and then it's okay, let's play with that flow, and like doing it a lot more off feel. But I think I had to go so far into like the left brain, technical, analytical side to realize that was not it. Like my favorite songs were never the ones that I would spend 15 hours a verse, like my favorite stuff was always the stuff where it just kind of came naturally, and I let it flow, and I didn't overthink it so much.
That stream of consciousness. My older raps as a teenager, 1 minute I'm sounding like LL Cool J, using the big words and doing that, or I was a mixture of LL Cool J and Run DMC. So I had to find my voice. So it seemed like you had to find your voice. And I've been a recipient of the K-Rec beat pack.
Oh, yeah. It's extensive.
When you get that email and you like, it's like Christmas.
Yeah. Listen, man, shout out K-Rec. K-Rec was prolific before, but I feel like in the last few years, it's like this guy's just been on fire in such a crazy way, on such a run.
Yeah.
Like, you've heard tracks with you, Curious, 4 Eyes, as well as like kind of feeding the local scene, right? Like, it's just.
And he's so humble because he'd be like, I'm gonna send you a couple of beats, and then it's like 20 beats up.
and they're all fire.
Yeah.
Like you feel bad because like you don't want to like hold all of them, but you can only write to so many at once. We're like, all right, I'll give that one back just to like be charitable. But like any of them could be.
So your first projects, you were saying K-Rec was
K-Rec
on
was
the beats?
he took it to the next level because it was me and this guy Lolux, right?
Yeah.
But it was just us, right? So we were rapping on internet beats.
Okay, okay, I was about to ask.
Someone would throw us a beat every now and then. Shout out Eli Moreau with Chapel Sound. He gave us our very first beat ever and a few other beats, but we weren't really part of the scene like that, me and Josh. He was from out of town. I was from like another part of culture, right? I didn't grow up with hip hop.
Yeah.
So we both had to kind of just like start from the outside. And so we didn't have a million producers throwing us beats, and it was linking up with K-Rec at a show where he was DJing and we were rapping. And we got to know each other a little bit. We did a live night together, like a weekly thing that I would kind of book, and K-Rec would DJ.
Okay.
And we became a group, and that was what took it to the next level because now we had beats, original beats that were really good, and it went way beyond that because Kent would like record us, right? Like he would do all the recording, the mixing, the
He does it all.
Yeah. The engineering, like the whole thing. And so now we can make music. Like I think we had talent, like you know, me and Lux, but now we can actually make it sound the way it needs to sound for people to hear that, right? You can be nice, but if you're on like, you know, some shoes in a dryer kind of beat and the recording is bullshit, like of course it's not, no matter how good of a rhymer you are, you know, people pay attention to this, how it sounds first. Right? You can have the best rhymes in the world, but if the beats are trash or the recording is bad. I mean, I don't know if that's true anymore because now it feels like the bedroom recording, like, you know, people are making multi-platinum albums on their phone now. So I don't know, maybe I'm just old, you know, but
at 39, spoken like a 39-year-old.
I know, because I hear about that now, right? People are like making whole albums on their phone, like everything, like it's kind of gone the other way where it's like lo-fi is super valid again.
And K-Rec probably can chime in on this, but it seemed like back in the day you had to have a whole bunch of gear, whereas now you have one thing and it does it all.
Yeah. And I just think I think there's, like Nigel was saying earlier, there's a lot of online tools. There's a lot of online tools to here.
No, go ahead.
It's all different types of podcasts. It's DJs that come here and it's podcasts.
I live pretty near my roommate came and did open that series once.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry,
Basically just there's a lot of online tools and stuff. So yeah, it's good. It's like open for everyone to do it. So
Okay, checking the levels.
I was checking the CD deck. I was like, ooh.
Checking the levels
this guy's
up.
always working, man. That's why we call him Dad. He's like the only person who's consistently on time and knows what he's doing and responsible.
I was on time today. I was late today.
Hey, you get to be Kasky. You get to be the first recipient of a Nige and K-Rec Imperfectionist sticker. Show the people at home what you're working with. That's the cover for the new album. Never before seen.
Yeah.
Never before heard. Honestly, outside of immediate collaborators in the fam, like that's the joint.
Okay.
Not to jump ahead, but
No. Well, I was going to
I just
ask.
wanted you to be the first person to have one. You know?
Yeah, yes, sir. I was going to ask. So your previous projects, are those up? Are those available for people?
They are now. Yeah. K-Rec put them all up. So they're on Spotify and all the streaming and whatnot. And that group is called Friends with the Help. So there's 5 albums.
Except for your one solo is hidden.
Which one? By the solo album?
Yeah, your album.
Oh yeah, we never put that up. I made one solo project a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's good actually. I don't know. It is what it is.
You gonna drop it one day? You just gonna be like, you know
it's
what?
on like SoundCloud.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
like it's out there somewhere.
What's the title of that?
That one's called Close One.
Close One.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just 5 songs. I did it with a producer named Black Hollywood. Like I don't know, quite a while ago. Like when was that? Like 2015. Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, 10 years ago, huh?
Yeah, that's weird. That's 10 years ago. That's crazy.
It went by like that.
But yeah, no. So K-Rec brought it to the next level, though, is what I was trying to say earlier. Is like he gave us a platform and a way to sound good, right? He completed the sound, and as a group, as that trio, we actually managed to do things. Like we actually managed to have like a video for a song called East Van Shit.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
you could still find that
Find it
video.
up,
Like
okay.
that was like we got to have a little moment, right? Whereas like East Van got behind us for a minute there, and like people would walk by in the street and be like, East Van shit. You know what I mean? Like it was but yeah, none of that would have been possible without K-Rec getting the music to a place and like filling it out in a way where it could actually sound like something pleasant and enjoyable to listen to. Right?
He wears a lot of hats.
Yeah.
Any cook of vicious some chicken wings up.
Yeah, he's the grill daddy, man. He's the grill meister. Yeah.
So this one, Imperfectionist.
Yeah.
So let's dig into that.
Sure, man.
The new. So when is it coming out?
The album is dropping on the platforms on September 18th, and we're having a release party on the 23rd, so the following Tuesday.
Okay, where you gonna have the release party at?
The Y's downstairs.
Okay.
So the lounge.
Okay, the Y's.
downstairs. Yeah. So the upstairs is obviously famous, iconic Vancouver venue, historical spot, and the downstairs is like a neighborhood pub. It's like being in someone's funky basement with dartboards and pool table. Like it's a real neighborhood. It was our local watering hole. Like me and K-Rec used to go there a couple nights a week.
Okay.
That's a conservative figure back when K-Rec was drinking. So that was like, it's a spot that actually has like,
meaning,
some personal significance to us.
Yeah.
So I was excited to do it there.
So you said the
23rd is going to be the party, but we're going to drop the album on the 18th. So I think that's the Thursday before. Or is it Friday? Something like that. It's the Thursday, yeah.
Thursday, okay.
And actually the week before that, a week from today, there's a lot of synchronicity here, we're going to drop a video.
Okay.
Yeah. So next Thursday we're gonna do a video. Following Thursday the album, and then next week on Tuesday we're gonna do.
So how many tracks on this project?
Just 8, just shorty. Yeah. It's like the whole jam is like 23 minutes maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's behind the name Imperfectionist?
So that was kind of a concept for one of the songs originally, and so me and K-Rec are both really into comic books and superheroes, and one of the beats he gave me was just this very kind of like classic. It felt like it would have been the theme from a Christopher Reeves era Superman movie. It has horns, like it has this real kind of cinematic, like epic feel. And I was like, man, I want to do something kind of like a MF Doom inspired superhero comics, cartoons and serial kind of thing on here. So that was the idea, and the idea I came up with, the chorus I came up with was like, the Imperfectionist, da 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 da, and I just kind of built off that. And so I was like, all right, this superhero is going to be the Imperfectionist, and I'm a therapist, right? So I work with people's kind of shadow, I work with people's baggage, I work with the parts of people that they don't like about themselves. You could say they're imperfections, right? And so for me, the Imperfectionist is about like embracing wholeness, right? What would it look like to embrace the parts of ourselves that we typically reject? So the Imperfectionist as a character is kind of this superhero who like means really well and he wants to help people, but also he just like kind of is a fuck up. He fucks everything up. He's like, his life is in shambles. He can barely take care of himself, but he wants to go out there and help everybody else. Yeah. And so that was kind of like, we just thought that would be a cool one to kind of name the project after.
Dope.
Yeah.
Any songs on there that has a special? I know all songs are special because they come from our creativity, but sometimes there's a song or something that, because of an experience that you've been through or something, are there any of those on there where you like, I was going through something on this one?
Honestly, man, I just kind of write in the prompts and let the AI do isn't that not what you do? No, I'm just pretending. I was playing. I don't know, man. ChatGPT did nice on a couple of them, bro. I'd have to go back and reread the lyrics. I don't know. No, I would say there's a couple. So the one we're going to do the video for, it's a very low-key one.
Okay.
So my original idea for the project was like, you ever heard like Earl Sweatshirt, navy blue? Like, I really like this kind of monotone, very almost just more just like talking, like less bounce, less hip hop, and more just kind of like spitting.
Okay.
Like slow, monotone. I was just really feeling that sound, kind of like more minimal beats, not a ton of drums. And so my original idea was like, we should do a project, you know, kind of in that vein. And what we ended up with was something a little bit more us and a little bit more kind of K-Recognize in the way we've been before, mixed in with some of that. But there's one song that I think is really chill and like low key like that is just kind of slowly spitting fairly vulnerable truths, right? And that's the one we got the video coming up for. That one's called Cloud of Ink. I'd say that's personal. Like, I don't know. I went through a divorce a few years ago. It talks about trying to rebuild your life after something like that, after your identity gets kind of torn down and you don't really know who you are at this new chapter, and it is about that. So that one's personal. I got one that's about counseling. It's kind of like almost like a letter to my clients in a way, or like a bit of a demo of some of the things I might say to a person who is sitting across from me in that chair, called Slow Down, Buddy, You're in Therapy. That's one. They're all personal, because that's the thing. It's like I can only really write about what's really real to me. Like, I feel like I'm old enough now that I don't feel the need to make it sound a certain way or like meet a certain kind of norm in terms of content. So it's all pretty personal, because that's all I really feel good rapping about now is like shit that I actually know about and have, like, you know, experienced.
I think is dope that you're doing music, because I feel like sometimes people want to put hip hop stagnant and like you just only should, whereas like no, we're getting older. Yeah. You know, I remember Tret saying this. He was like, they make it seem like you can't rap no more after a certain age, like your knees are bad or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
like you're a basketball player.
Yeah. But it's really, you got more stuff to talk about. Yeah. You know, even when I talked to my mom and we talk about, because I had a recording contract at 17.
No way.
Yeah.
I want to hear about that.
And she wouldn't sign the contract. She signed for me to go to the Navy. That's the only contract she signed. She was like, get your goofy ass out of here. And sent me to the Navy. But she tell me, you know, now when we talk about, she was like, well, you were 17. What were you going to talk about? All you knew was New Jersey and New York and Philly, like, and going down to North Carolina. You know, so to this day, I thank her, because with going in the Navy, I traveled the world.
Right. Your life would have been totally different if you signed that record contract at 17.
Yeah, I've been in one of them clubs and doing a Harlem Shake and got some baby oil or something. And be like, what the fuck? I'm a cocoa butter baby. I don't even mess with baby oil. What the heck? But nah, I had to go and experience life. You know what I mean? So to pull from that and not,
you must have been choked, man, at the time though.
Well, the funny thing is, I don't know if you heard of what's his name, YZ, Thinking of a Master Plan. The record label signed him after I went to the Navy. So since they didn't sign me, the person they ended up signing was YZ, who is a legend. You know what I mean? And I was in a rap contest with Wise Intelligent from Poor Righteous Teachers. Yeah. So yeah, I was a little hurt. I had basketball opportunity and rapping. My mom was like, nah, but this is New Jersey, late 80s. Crack was, so as a parent, she's like, I need to get you out of here.
How can I get you as far away as possible from
Well,
New Jersey?
and what's funny too, in the Navy, you have what is called a dream sheet, where you sign, you put where you want to get stationed. So I went to boot camp in San Diego. So I signed and I was like, Jersey, Philly. I even picked Maine.
Right.
I was like,
just as close to home.
Close to the East Coast. And they was like, all right, we going to send you to Japan. They sent me far east.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I was still rapping. I was rapping and doing shows over there.
They probably look at that dream sheet and they're just like, okay, let's send this person as far away from these places as possible.
Yeah. They were like,
it's funny because I bet there were a lot of people who were like, I hope I get to go to Japan. Like, you know what I mean? I hope I get to go to the South Pacific. Like,
but, oh my goodness. And it was such an experience because during that time, we talking late 80s, early 90s. So, like, Public Enemy came over there. I met Salt and Pepper over there, Kid and Play. So they were bringing in one of our guys. He was doing security. So we got a chance. I met Naughty by Nature, Ice Cube. So they were bringing shows over there and stuff. So it was a good time. I feel like we helped bring the hip hop culture over there, because here we are, 19-year-olds with the flat tops and stuff. Because this is '88.
Yeah. No internet either. So they're probably some of the, like, you might be the first person with that haircut that a lot of those people had ever seen. I'm imagining. Outside of maybe like a magazine.
Well, it's funny because you're in the club and you're doing your dance steps, and then you turn around and you see Japanese in there doing.
Yeah, they're watching your feet.
Yeah, because we're doing the kid and play kick step and all that stuff, and they do. So it was just crazy to see the culture, kind of expand over there and stuff, and I felt like we played a part in that, because the code, you said, it wasn't just rapping, it was we were breaking, we were the way we talk, the way we dress.
Yeah.
Like when I went shore duty over there, I taught English. I can barely speak English, but I taught English. And what's funny is that most of the Japanese, the young ones, they wanted to know slang. They didn't want to know proper English.
Yeah.
They wanted to know slang. I was like, hell yeah, I can teach you slang.
I can probably teach you that better, arguably.
Yeah. I'm getting $20 for an hour just teaching you hip hop slang up in there.
Back then, shit.
Back then, yeah. So
K-Rec lived in Japan DJing.
I think he told me, yeah. Where at in Japan? Tokyo. How about Shinjuku?
Yeah, all those places.
Roppongi.
That's where I was staying, was Roppongi.
Oh yeah. Ooh, you taking me back.
I bet. What could you hit us with maybe like one crazy Japan story?
Okay, so we talking about shows. So my man, was his nickname Huggy? I think his name was Huggy, and he did security. So he's like, yo, who want to do security for Ice Cube? So we was like, yeah, we do that. So Ice Cube was on stage. We standing down from the stage on the ground, and there's a barrier and there's people there. So I'm standing there, Ice Cube doing this thing, and so I'm looking at the Japanese girl, and she looking at me. You know what I'm saying? Like Biggie said, once she grin, I'm in, game begin. I'm like, yeah, what's up? And she was like, hey, I was like, hey, konnichiwa, choto, boku no namae wa Kevin desu, and she, so she was like, yo, she was giving me some rhythm. So then I was like, well, check it out. Next week I can meet up with you. You give me your number and stuff. She's like, oh, you not with Ice Cube? I was like, nah, I'm in the Navy. I'm stationed in Atsugi. She stopped talking to me.
Right. Yeah. A little bit of history there.
She was like,
yeah.
I was like, wow, that's what we doing.
Right, the pull that it is in some places.
So I was like, oh, so I'm over here fighting for democracy, and you can't give a brother some play up. But nah, it was definitely a great time, man, because hip hop was popping.
Yeah.
And again, they love it. And that's what I love about up here in Vancouver. When I started coming up here, the first time coming up here in '99, and it seemed like there was a love for the culture.
Definitely. Definitely. Maybe not quite an identity for the scene
Yeah,
always. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, I think it's just always shifting, and we have these artists that do these amazing things, but there still isn't quite that cohesive Vancouver sound where you're like, oh yeah, that's Vancouver, but the love is real, super real.
So do you think that's one of the reasons why Vancouver doesn't have an identity, because it doesn't have its own sound?
It's also a young city, man. It's just a young city, and it's not a big city. Toronto is, also a young city, but it's big. It's got deep pockets. It's got a big population. It's got big communities of different cultural and ethnic groups that are deep in the tens and hundreds of thousands deep, right? You don't just have a couple streets of Indian people or Asian people. You got neighborhoods, right? So you can develop culture and identity a lot more quickly when you got hundreds of thousands of people feeding into it, participating in it, opening businesses, creating culture. In a city where we just got fewer people, now the cost of living fucks everything. That's a whole other thing. But I think it's just a young city, right? It's a young country. You even look at a country like the States. They've had hundreds of years on Canada in terms of identity formation. And then you look at countries out in Europe that have had, hundreds more, right? You know what I mean? And you see how it means something to be Irish. It means something to
Yeah.
be French. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
a shared sense of collective identity. Well, they've had hundreds of years to
develop
that, right? So of course it doesn't mean anything to be from Vancouver yet because Vancouver hasn't been one thing for long enough.
Yeah.
And maybe it won't be. Maybe we live in an age now where it's just pluralities, right? And culture is changing so fast and we're so globalized that all we have are pockets. And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's just different. Maybe there isn't a unified identity. There isn't a biggest artist in the world anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like there was a time when like Michael Jackson was the biggest artist in the world. There was a time when the Beatles was like the
Yeah.
biggest artist in the world. That's done. There's never going to be a biggest artist in the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because there's the biggest artist for the people who like Taylor Swift. There's the biggest artist for the people who like Drake.
Yeah.
But there's going to be other people in your town, on your street, who never heard a Drake song, never heard a Taylor Swift song.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
like that when it was just the radio.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you put on the radio and you had no
That
choice.
was it.
Everybody had to listen.
For real.
You know?
That was it.
So I don't know. Maybe with that comes also the loss of a more cohesive culture. And to me, that's fine. Because that leaves more space for different people, different
Yeah.
kinds of expression, right?
I
You don't
know-
have to sound like Drake
Yeah.
to be a big hip hop artist. You don't have to sound like the Beatles to be a big rock artist. You know, you just need to appeal to a little pocket who can kind of
Yeah.
keep you, doing it.
Doing it, yeah. I was surprised at the ignorance of Canada, of people in the States, what they know about Canada or lack thereof,
Yeah.
Even like talking to my cousins and be like, yo, y'all gonna come up to visit? Be like, man, it's way too cold up there and da 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 da. And it's like
It's like it's
Yeah.
September, we're wearing t-shirts right now.
yeah. And it's like they just think it's Rocky and Bullwinkle out this month and Maple Leafs.
Yeah. Igloos.
Igloo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
always the joke when you go travel as a
Yeah.
kid. You'd be like, oh, you're from Canada, y'all live in igloos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which what was funny though, growing up in New Jersey, for some reason we used to get Edmonton Oilers hockey games.
That makes sense, though. I mean, actually, no, that's kind of far. I would have
Yeah.
thought you would have got, maybe Toronto Maple Leafs or something.
No, it was for some reason.
Edmonton Oilers.
That's because my wife is from Edmonton, so and I mean I guess because Gretzky, he was like the Michael Jordan of hockey, so maybe that's why. But it was just always weird. I remember that's what I told my wife. I was like, growing up, for some reason, we always got Edmonton Oilers hockey.
Yeah.
It was weird and stuff. So, but
That's real, man.
yeah. So getting back to this project, how long did it take y'all to produce
How long
it?
did it take? I don't know. I think I actually was curious about this myself, so I looked for the email, the first set of beats, the first batch from Kent in my email, and I think from the time until we had the album done, like final mix and master and everything, it was about 10 months.
10 months.
For 8 songs is not an incredible work rate, but that's, I think, partly, due to my own slowness.
And people got work.
Years, because it was. I'll come up
Yeah. I want to hear from K-Reg.
It was like because some of the songs were recorded in 2020.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, 2 of the songs were recorded back then, and then I ended up remixing them to sound current.
Okay, you did a ghost face.
Yeah, exactly.
I was listening.
Was that why? I thought you'd already given away the beats.
No. Well, one of them I gave away. One of them did I? Maybe I gave both of them away. I don't know. Anyway, I remixed them just because I thought they were. I thought we were done with the songs, but I like the lyrics on them, so yeah. But
Yeah.
especially the last song, it's kind of about the pandemic, and it was written during the.
Oh,
pandemic.
okay. Okay. So that's what I want to know. Like, how did it start off? Was it just like, yo, I got an idea for a song, or I got an idea for a project?
We want to do a project. I always knew after the group ended, after we kind of stopped working together with the group, I knew that I didn't know if I was gonna keep making music. It wasn't like I was like, I'm quitting. It's okay, he's tall. I wasn't like I was like, I'm quitting, but I also kind of felt like after the pandemic, especially between like the group ending and then the pandemic kind of, I don't know how else to put it, but like all the people that would book us for shows and that we would do shows with and that kind of our scene that we were a part of, 90% of those people kind of packed it up during COVID.
Yeah.
They just moved on to other things. They focused on their careers, the families. Like, we're all at that age, right? Where there's a shift, right? People are
Yeah.
starting to get married, people are starting to partner up, they're just starting to focus on other things.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, I didn't know if I was going to keep rapping just because I was focusing on becoming a counselor. I was getting my master's, going through a divorce, just like, I don't know, just like wasn't happening for me so much. But I always knew that if and when I came back to it, I wanted to do a project with Kent because we've been working together for so long, but it had always been in the group. But we just have like such a chemistry between, I feel like, the beats he makes, the vocals I do. I feel like I learned to rap on his beats, right? So I always knew that I wanted to do a project with Kent. And then I don't really know what inspired us to actually do it, but I think I was just like, you know, we talked about it and it didn't happen a few times. Like, I think we liked the idea, but it was mostly me, I think, just being a bit too flaky, a bit too, like, pulled in too many different directions. But then finally I was like, yeah, I want to do it. I want to do it for real. I got to actually give credit to my bro, Rosmo Brent, as well. He sent me some beats, and that I started writing on those, and it kind of got the juices flowing a little bit.
Okay.
And then I was kind of like, oh, shit, I really missed this. And then I was like, all right, Kent, like, let's actually do it. Like, let's actually do it.
Yeah.
And then he sent me a pack of beats. And this time, instead of saying, yeah, I'm going to write on him, dude. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so stoked. And then just fucking off for a year, I actually started writing on him.
Yeah.
And now, 10 months later, the album.
So it's like, it's divine timing, because sometimes,
Yeah.
because you can listen to a beat at a certain point and nothing, and then a week or 2 weeks later or a month later, you listen to that beat and the words come to you because you had a different. No, you're good. Oh, it's all good. Because you had a different state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it's emotional, mental, and maybe that beat talks to you at that time and stuff. So,
Bro, as a counselor, I cannot overstate the importance of the stories that we tell about ourselves. So many of the people I work with are living their lives according to a story they have about themselves, right? I'm this kind of person. I'm always getting this kind of response from people. I'm good at this. I'm bad at that. And I think for a while my story was like, not that I wasn't very confident with rapping and I didn't know if I could do it still. And then once I just let myself do it, that story couldn't hold up anymore because I was like, shit, I love this. I feel so much better when I'm doing this. And I'm, like you said, better at it now than I ever was.
Yeah.
Right? Because like you said, rap is not basketball. You don't have a prime in your 20s and then get worse.
Yeah.
Or like, less able.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, it's something that you just like the longer you do it, the more you know, the older you get, right? The more you have to talk about. And so then that story just changed and I was like, oh shit, like I'm feeling the juices flowing, and once I started to feel like that, it became like my greatest joy. Whereas before it stressed me out.
Yeah.
It stressed me out. I'd be like, fuck, I don't know. Oh, is that good? Is that bad? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it stressed me out legit. And so, of course, I didn't do it. Why would we do stuff that makes us feel stressed out and shitty?
Yeah.
Right? Like, we all gravitate towards stuff that makes us feel energized. But I had to change my relationship with it and get into that relationship of, like, loving it again and feeling good about it again.
Okay. So you were motivated and excited going into this project.
Yeah, and I started feeling hopeful about the music. I think I had a lot of weird stories like, oh, it won't be as good as the Friends with the Help, or even whatever we make won't be as good as what other people are doing, or, oh, it's like, not what people like now, but I don't want to make what I think people like now.
Yeah.
And all of that is just stories. All of that is just blah, blah, blah that we say to ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? And once I kind of unburdened myself of some of that and just got excited about what we were doing and said, fuck what anybody else is doing, and just focusing, like locking in on that.
Yeah.
It became like, it was probably the highlight of the last year was making this album, just going on walks on my lunch break, playing the beats over and over again. Sometimes I go on a hour-long walk, I get one line. Yeah. But the process, I was having fun the whole time. Yeah, it's frustrating sometimes when you get stuck, or nothing's coming out. But it was like a sport.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And I let myself enjoy it again.
Yeah. And that's what I was trying to say earlier. I think you got to appreciate that, the process, the grind, whether you go on these walks and you come up with one line or you come up with a whole song,
or a whole verse, a whole song. Yeah.
It's about the feelings and emotions and channeling those into something constructive.
Yeah.
You know, and an outlet. Do you feel like it's an outlet when you writing?
For sure. It's an outlet, but it's also a game to me. Like, that's one of my favorite parts of it, is it feels like a game, figuring out what is going to sound good in that spot. Right? And rhyme with what you said before and be true and on topic. It's almost like kind of like a guessing. It's like charades, you're right? What is it? What's it going to be? Like, what's the line going to be? It's like only one line can go there, you know, and it's like almost like it's already there. I just have to find it. Like, you know, is it Wheel of Fortune, where you got to fill in like the letters and the message? You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like there's only one thing that can go here, but I have to be the one to like trial and error it until I find what's supposed to go there, and that's like super fun. You know, I'm sure you probably feel it with writing. I'm sure you feel it with making beats when you're trying to like get that thing you're looking for, and then when you finally find it, you're like, oh, it's the best feeling.
So K-Rec, when you made the beats, did you already make these beats, or did you make them specifically for Naj?
I made them all specifically for Naj this time, actually. Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to figure which ones wouldn't I have made. No, I think I made all these ones specifically for you, because you had it was actually Nigel and I were kind of, I wouldn't say beefing, but Nigel wanted like those drumless, like Alchemist type of, like, you know, like the guy
Rock Marciano.
Yeah, Rock Marcy. And honestly, I was like really, or I still am, like just deep into like doing what I like want to do, which is like, you know, just old school boom bap like sample based stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of, like Nigel said earlier, we kind of met in the middle. The drums are quieter. And yeah, there's more. I made a song that that I originally titled Nigel Harlow, because it sounded like a Jack Harlow beat, and they actually sent me one of them. So there's just stuff like that. But yeah, I'm almost certain I made all the beats for you.
Dope.
Because because Nigel didn't want any like program drums, so there was a lot of like live drums sounds on it.
Oh, okay.
Or they were like, you know, samples, but I was sampling like But I wasn't sampling like known break beats. I was like taking like drums from like, you know, other certain rock songs and stuff. So just, and I turned the drum volume way down. I didn't layer the drums like I usually do. So it didn't have that like boom bappy hard sound.
But you gave him the canvas to paint on.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
I feel bad. I don't know what to say now. I feel like I made Kent, but maybe it's a good thing. Was it fun or useful for you to pivot a little out of your normal bag?
Yeah.
It was fun. I mean, I had gone through before like trying to do the drumless things. I just like the problem with those kind of beats is I always feel like I'm faking it. Like when I try to do stuff like that, like type beats, or if I try to do like whenever someone's like, "Oh, can you make a beat that sounds like this?" I feel like I don't feel good about the beat after, because it's like, oh, I just want to make a beat. Like I want to make a K-Rec type beat.
Yeah.
You know? So, but no, it's good. I mean, I like the one I was joking about, the Nigel Harlow one. I really like the way that turned out, and that's like really outside of what I do. And also, and the song for the video too is kind of like, it took a lot for me to like not put drums over it or not like do what I normally do. So, yeah, no, it was cool. I like the way it turned out for sure.
To be fair, I wasn't like anti-drum. I think for me, it wasn't about the drums. It was about, I wasn't feeling like at my age, I was trying to be super hype in that moment.
Yeah.
I was just tired. Friends with the Help, we had a lot of really upbeat melodic songs, and we'd be out doing, you know, these big choruses where we're shouting and singing, and I loved that. But I also was just kind of like, that's not my energy right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my life is heavy. I'm working as a drug and alcohol counselor, hearing heavy shit all day. I'm nearly 40. I'm going for walks. You know what I mean? I'm not like super hype. And I was kind of like, I would love to be able to rap in a way that wasn't where I didn't have to be Mr. High Energy. Because in our group, I was the high energy one. Because the other guy is a great rapper, but he's the opposite of high energy, right? He's like very like, he's way more low key. And I was like, damn, I would actually like to just get to be like more of a heady kind of contemplative spitter.
I guess like part of my thing artistically is like, the more like depressed I am, the more kind of like upbeat like my beats are. Like when I'm like bummed out, or when I'm feeling type of way, I make like all the kind of boom bap like because you had ST, like all the ST beats are made when I'm feeling kind of depressed. truthfully. So it's hard for me to get into like that state of mind and make like stuff that matches it. I don't know. I kind of have to like almost step outside myself.
So I feel like this project is an indication that K-Rec is doing very well mentally because it's very low key.
Like before, when I'd make like those kind of rock marciano, like those kind of beats, I would do them on my phone and do it like almost like not think about it, like just make a loop. But yeah, I'm kind of in this feeling now where I want to like produce things and be like, yeah, you have to like, I don't know, I have a hard time doing minimal stuff.
Well, you know, shout out to you, man, and thank you for being down to like meet me there, because I wasn't thinking about it that way. We had a conversation about it like way later, where it was like, oh yeah, I feel like you're asking me to like not do my thing, and I guess like I never thought about it. I just felt like you could do everything because I've heard a million different kinds of beats from K-Rec, right? And so I was just kind of like, oh, I'm sure he's got a bag that is this flavor too, right? But so I appreciate that.
I will just say, like, you touched on it earlier about like before you were worried about like, you know, not being able to, like, basically you said that you kind of came into doing this album because you you know, finally stopped giving a fuck or whatever, and you just started doing that. Was like when I was worried about what people thought of me more, I would make beats that I thought people wanted to hear, as opposed to being true to myself. And then I feel like the last few years when I've been true to myself with making beats, like I feel like the floodgates have opened. So I've been making tons of music, and that's because I'm like, I don't care. It's like, oh, I'm going to make this sound like this. Or if this beat's going to have like the impeach the president break, I don't care. Even though before I'd be like, oh, I can't use that break because it's so overused. Yeah. But now it's like, oh, I don't care. Like, I'll just do it because that's what I'm feeling. And so, yeah, and so that's why now, because back in the day I used to make all these different type of beats and stuff, but I would be almost like chasing the dragon or whatever. I'd be like, oh, I gotta do this because I want to be cool. And yeah, you know, now I'm not cool and I feel cool.
And
that's all that matters, baby.
And we are the recipients of these dope beats that you've been coming up with.
Yeah, and shout out K-Rec's generational run, right? He's making house albums, House Plants Volume 1 and 2, rap albums, Sad Boy, Depressed Therapy, rap project with me. Like, it's not that sad,
Upbeat
actually.
With STL.
Yeah, with ST. This one's got some upbeat joints on it, too. I don't know if we're going to play anything, but like there's some upbeat joints, and otherwise it's coming out in a couple weeks. Anyway,
Yeah.
No,
Like I said,
I love what K-Rec did on this project a lot. Like, there's some of my favorite beats of his. I've had complaints in the past where I feel like everyone else is getting some of my favorite beats. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of like, what's wrong with me? Why makes that guy so much better? But on this one, I really feel like every single beat is like a beat I'm like in love with.
I have no idea what beats are good. Like, honestly, people I will always say like, oh, why'd you give that guy that beat? I'm like, I didn't know that beat was like dope. I like all my beats equally. They're like my children.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown, man. These guys getting pressure from all, you getting it from all angles.
Everyone's always like, oh, why'd that guy get that beat? I'm like, I don't know. It was just at that time, and that's
the ultimate compliment though, when people are like, why didn't you give me that one? I feel like that is the ultimate compliment.
Yeah. Definitely. So you said some of these songs y'all was kind of conceptualizing back in 2020?
Yeah, we recorded we recorded a bunch of stuff. No, we recorded like 3. There's one that I didn't do anything with. But one of them ended up the way it is on the album, which is the first song. It was originally
3.
Yeah. So it was originally a beat, but we redid that one. But then the other 2 I ended up remixing later because I don't know, I was listening to the old recordings and I really liked what Nigel was doing, so I had this like burst of energy, so I just remixed them one day with new beats. But it was true, some of the beats I'd given away to other people since 2020 because I really liked the beats, and I was a little bit bummed that Nigel didn't do anything with them.
Fair.
But yeah, it was also like listening back to them, the beats, I think the original beats were maybe a little bit too up. The vibe of them was like a little bit something.
Yeah. So it's got to fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny that some of those songs that K-Reg remixed, he didn't tell me beforehand that he was working on them. He was just like, "Hey, look at this." Some song joints I'd forgotten. I had to, when I'm performing them, I had to relearn the words because I'd literally forgotten about them. And those became some of my favorite tracks. And when we first made them, I was kind of like, "Oh, I don't know, like." You know what I mean? I'm not loving that one, but he like really kind of brought him back to life. You know? Yeah. It's funny. You never know, right? You take a verse, you take a beat, and you sort of change the context of it. You get a different song altogether.
Yeah, because the original beats were like quite like not club beats, but they were like pretty like you know, had a bounce to them. Where then I made them into like indie rock sounding songs. So
you know that stomp clap sound. You know, stomp. Hey! Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, the whole album is Stomp Clap. Or what's that guy's name?
Edward Sharp and the Zeros.
And that new guy who's got that big #1 hit. I don't know the name, but it's all Stomp Clap.
Stomp clap. That's a genre.
Yeah, that's a genre. I had to put that into DistroKid when I uploaded. They're like, select a genre. It said Stomp Clap Hey.
So moving on, and we'll get back into this before we head out. So again, I was blown away when you had mentioned you were a therapist. I was like, because it's always cool to me, because just like me, my job, I'm a purchasing agent. I work in supply chain. Mm-hmm. You know, I never forget going to work one day down in Seattle. I was going to work in Seattle, and I had my business casual on. And I'm walking to work, and this dude walking down the street, he got his hat down, he bopping, and he looked, and he's like, "Ak, is that you?" I was like, "Yeah, man, I got a job." So it's just crazy to see how, you know, people have jobs, but they still have a love for the art form.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
We contain multitudes. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We're not one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got room for a lot.
Yeah.
I think the inside of a person is roomy, spacious.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of room for you. We don't got to just be one thing. Just because you drink a ginger ale today doesn't mean you can't have a tea tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know? Like, wait, is that how you are Monday to Friday? Are you business casual?
Well, yeah.
I get it. Me too.
At work,
get it.
Yeah.
A little bit. I'm lucky. My job gives me a lot of flexibility. Like I went to work like this today, so it's like not hyper formal or anything. You know, I'll wear a shirt with buttons. Yeah. Kind of the rule I have for myself.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I was working at the bankruptcy court in Seattle, they would have dress down Fridays.
A casual Friday type thing.
And so the week I'm wearing a tie and shirt and slacks. Then Friday I'm wearing Timberlands and baggy jeans.
Right.
And I'm walking up, and it's just funny because everybody at the bankruptcy court, they would just be like, "Oh, that's Kevin. He's a rapper."
Yeah. On Fridays only.
Yeah, for real. On Fridays, it'd be like, "Who is that dude coming up in here?" Mm-hmm. But so when you got up there and you were getting busy, the music was dope. Definitely the stage presence was dope. You know what I mean?
Thank you, man. And, got a lot of years doing it, but that was my first show in like
a little while.
When was that last Friends with the Help show? Like 2023? 2022? Or 2020? Was it? K-Rick is better with the dates.
2022, like May. It was right when everything
opened up again.
So about three years ago.
Since I performed Well, no, I did some shows. Shout out my guy C.R. Avery. He put me on a few shows.
Okay.
But a cappella. He's a poet. And so he would do like some piano kind of thing, and I would spit verses I had or songs I had a cappella. But outside of those, that was my first performance since 2022. So we had a lot of years doing it, but that was the first time in a minute that I'd been on stage, and you know, so I was nervous.
Yeah. Couldn't tell. It was great. It was a great show, and like I said, what shocked me was when you asked the crowd, anybody in therapy. And they were like, yeah, you know, and you was like, anybody suffer with, you know, mental health issues? And they was like, yeah. I was like, this is a different time, mm-hmm. You know? And so we pivot into that because it seems like the younger generation it's okay. It's not taboo anymore to talk about. Because I was joking with coworkers because, you know, I told my coworker, when you listen to hip hop music back in the day, especially like Mobb Deep, for all the killers and the $100 billers to real niggas who ain't got no feelings. You like, yo, is that a good thing?
I never thought about that.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah.
You need a hug or something? You need to talk to somebody about that? You know, that's not cool. And you know, back in the day, it's pretty much when you had issues, it's like, man, suck that shit up, homie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, don't be a bitch. You know, and it's like
Ken tells me that every day. Literally.
buck up, son. But whereas the youth, and I seen it before with Icon Hip Hop too, where they when they get in their ciphers, cats are not afraid to talk about mental health issues, which is
really going on. Whether we talk about it or not, that's what's really going on.
Yeah.
You know, you look at male suicide rates going up all the time, through the roof, right?
Yeah.
You can't tell me that that's not happening. Whether just because we're not talking about it doesn't mean that we're not going through it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you look at the prevalence of psychiatric medication, right? You look at the numbers of people being diagnosed with mental health conditions. They're not going down. And part of that is that there's more general awareness, so people are seeking out these diagnoses.
Yeah.
So, of course, that's going to have an effect on it. But I also think that is genuinely something that's been happening. It's just coming to light more and getting talked about in all kinds of places, in classrooms, in arts and culture and music, in, you know, like places, settings like this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I saw that they say pretty much about approximately 1 billion people suffer from mental health issues globally. So that's 1 out of 8 people. You know, so my question is, with all these creature comforts that we have, technology and things that's supposed to be better, why is mental health issues increasing?
Oh, just a quick question, huh?
Yeah. Just a quick question because
just a simple one,
because especially like coming from the States, it's like we the best. America, and it's like I don't feel like we the best. I mean, I don't. you know, you feel like you in a messed up relationship because you getting gaslighted by a person who's abusing you.
Being like, I'm the best you ever had. You'll never do better than me.
And you're like, but you know you done got mentally abused, physically abused. It's like, but I don't feel like you. You love me, but you say you love me. So my thing is like we got all these creature comforts. We got all these, you know, things to make life better.
Yeah.
But people feel isolated more. Like you said, depression, anxiety, PTSD. I'm pretty sure we still haven't felt the full effect of COVID.
I really, really agree with you.
You
and I know Kent and I talk about this all the time. A lot of people, their lives changed at that time. You know, you hear it over and over. I hear it all the time. I do intake sometimes. Some substance use counselor is my day job, right? And I do intake, which is I take in new people and I give them kind of the initial interview sort of screening to get them into our clinic. And you wouldn't believe how many people I talk to who say that their substance use or their mental health issues picked up right then, around that time. It was around 2020 or 2021, around pandemic time, that I started really drinking a lot. Or that I started, you know, feeling, you know, my depression got a lot worse all the time. You know what I mean? So I agree with you that I don't think we really fully understand what that. I don't think I fully understand what that did to me. Let alone on this macro level of society. But no, to come back to your question, man, I think that's a good one. And if I had the answer, I would, you know, probably have a much better paying job, you know, than I do. But like the first thing that came to mind is maybe what we need isn't more comfort. You know what I mean? Maybe happiness does not come from simply comfort, or that more comforts, more pleasure on its own is not sufficient to bring us happiness. We need meaning, we need connection. And more comfort does not guarantee any of those things. And I'm not just saying it's just meaning or just connection. Of course, if you don't have comfort, if you don't have a home, it's going to be pretty hard to find meaning. There's, you know, the Maslow's hierarchy kind of model, right? Of like, you got to take care of your more basic needs. But like, I don't know, like when you have an abundance of comfort, what does that do to your skill at tolerating discomfort? Do you think you get better or worse at tolerating unpleasant emotional experiences when you have access to comfort 24/7?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I just think, like you said, the comfort, having all these things doesn't necessarily mean, being adjusted, doesn't mean healthy.
Yeah, it can make it worse.
It can, yeah.
Because now you never have to sit with an unpleasant feeling. You can just zone out, get a quick dopamine hit, distract yourself, do something to take you out of that moment all the time, right? And so you never have to feel what you feel. You never have to sit with and face what's going on inside you, because there's always a distraction. There's always something you can eat or smoke or scroll or message ChatGPT or look at a porno, or what I mean,
to
get
escape.
some hit at any given time, and it's right in your hand all the time. So now we never have to reflect if we don't want to. We never have to introspect. We never have to ask ourselves, what do I really need right now? Right?
Yeah.
Because we got a shallow kind of hit of satisfaction constantly available. Okay, Rick?
I'll use this opportunity. I gotta go. 'Cause
Okay.
Speaking of mental health, to look into the mental health of my dogs, I gotta go home and feed them.
Yeah.
Or Taro is gonna have a fit.
Thanks for stopping by, man.
Thank you.
And I'll holler at you.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah. I'll talk to you soon,
Okay,
too.
peace, guys. Thank
Yo,
you.
K
All right.
Rec in the
Peace.
building.
Thanks for stopping by.
Bye, guys.
You got the stickers?
Yeah, I got him. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
But no, that was so on point, because I hear a lot of people talk about they don't have purpose.
Yes.
Bro,
I hear that
again,
a lot.
My background, my faith background, being Muslim, that's one of the things I talk about, is that you have a purpose.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's cognitive dissonance to say that life is not supposed to have purpose, but when you look around, everything that's created has purpose. You look at your body, everything on your body serves a purpose.
Serves a purpose.
So when you don't have a purpose, you just feel like it's like a ship without a rudder. You just and that creates anxiety and that.
You don't know why you're doing what you're doing, right? Or you're just doing everything you can to survive. That's the other piece, right? I think is we got so many people who are just working to live, right? And at the end of the day, I don't know where that leaves you, right? And I count myself in that to a large extent, right? Like, I work more than I want to be working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just feels like that's what I need to do to keep up. So where does that leave you time to, I don't know, maybe explore new things, changes?
Yeah.
I think, like you said, those things that feel meaningful, not just I have to do them, but actually meaningful. And I think that's why you look at parents, right? Do you have kids?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations, bro.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
really
you.
cool.
They're young adults now, but
very cool. Well, how they doing?
They're good.
So it sounds like you did something right.
Yeah. Me and my ex-wife. Yeah, we raised some good kids, so I'm proud of that.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah. Big ups. But a lot of parents, their lives objectively are more demanding, more complicated, right? I could imagine you'd probably agree. You got more shit to manage, more logistics, more stress, maybe even.
Yeah.
Oftentimes they report much happier levels of happiness. Whoa. In spite of that, to me, that's because you are giving of yourself to the well-being of someone else. You have a purpose that is beyond you, that is bigger than you, that goes beyond yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that is when we thrive as people, is when we are connected to an agenda, a purpose, whether that be God, your community, your family, your art, even just your own life, but connected to it in a way that is bigger than just you. Yeah. And I think the people I work with or see, even friends and stuff who struggle the most, are not the people who necessarily have the most stressors or obstacles, but the people who lack purpose, people who don't have a lot going on in their lives, who are maybe on social assistance and they're getting enough money to just get by, but they don't have anything to apply themselves to. They lack responsibilities. It's not that they lack capability. It's just that the situation they found themselves in is one where they don't have a lot to apply themselves to, where they don't necessarily have a strong sense of purpose.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the people who struggle the most. The people, I work with other people who, have a lot of stress and they got really demanding jobs, and they're struggling too, or mental health issues. But I feel like the people who feel the most stuck are actually the people who don't have anything to give themselves to. I think we want we want to like
serve.
We want to serve. Exactly.
Yeah.
I really feel that.
Yeah.
You know, like Erykah Badu said this thing that I think about all the time. She said, "I am the servant's servant's servant." And I really feel that way.
Yeah,
You know what? In my life, like I don't discriminate about who I will serve. I don't see anybody as being below me. You know what I mean? Like I'm here to serve.
Serve.
You know, and that is purpose enough.
Yeah. And tying in the art, because that's how I look at what I do with the music is, and I tell my kids this, I'm like, okay, God gave me a 30-year head start over you, so I can grab these lessons and pass them on to you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I try to do with the music is like, okay, I go through life, I take that hit on the chin, I take that body shot, and then I write these things down, and you know, I'm saying, okay, this is life, ups and downs, and these are things that I've did and I had to face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are things that happened to me, and I just look at it like, okay, it's all about growth and development. You have to, like you said, you have to go through these things to get to a certain point. So when you have that vision of, okay, I want to go here, there's going to be some things there, and you just have to embrace it. Not run from it, because like you said, you kind of set yourself up for failure if you try to be like, well, I don't want any discomfort.
Yeah.
You know,
but that's the message that our culture sends us. So like, I think your question of why, when we have so many comforts, are people so unhappy, in a way, the answer is in the question, because the message we're sent is that you're not supposed to feel bad. Oh, there's something wrong, you need to go do a yoga class. There's nothing wrong with yoga. I love yoga.
I do hips and back. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's always like, oh, like there's something wrong, you need to buy something, you need to do something, you need to add something to your system, right? You need to take a painkiller, you need to do these things, you need to go to therapy, and like all these things can be healthy, but the message it sends us is that there's something wrong with feeling bad. And the thing I always think is like, just because it feels bad doesn't mean it is bad. Growth is uncomfortable. Change always happens outside of your comfort zone. So to demonize feeling bad is to demonize the exact thing that we need to submit to in order to change. Right? So like, just because it feels bad doesn't mean it is bad, and just because it feels good doesn't mean it is good.
It's good.
Right? Like fucking getting drunk every day probably feels really good for part of that time. But the net consequences could be very bad. You know what I mean? So I think we need to really separate something being bad from something feeling bad.
Man, that was deep what you talked about with the feelings and trying to run away and trying to escape discomfort, and it just ends up hurting you, because I do feel like struggle is part of it. You know what I mean? And if you do feel good if you know that, man, I made it here and I had to go through this, and this. As opposed to just everything given to you. I think you don't value it. If everything was given to you, you put out a record and you was 10 times platinum next week, and
right,
and
the
you
American
didn't work.
Idol model.
You didn't work. You didn't have to, do a couple of shows where there's 5 people in the audience. You know what I mean?
Dozens. Shows like that.
You have to, and again, it's like appreciating that journey. And there's some expectation, because there's times when you get all hyped up and then you go to perform or something isn't the way, and you just gotta be like, this is just part of it.
Just part of it. You
know?
And like you said, embrace the whole thing, not just the parts we like, right? Like, I think there's a lot to be said for embracing everything that is, right? Especially like, you were saying you're a Muslim, right? Like, I'm not an expert on Islam at all, right? But my understanding is that everything was written, right? Nothing would happen if it were not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And in that, everything that happens is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a sense, everything happening is worth embracing as much as anything else in that sense. William Blake, the British poet from like the Romantic era, he said, beauty is truth and truth beauty. So that's all I know. That's all I need to know is beauty is truth, truth, beauty. And what I think he meant by that is that anything that is true, like anything real, like the real is what is true, is beautiful, is good by virtue of being real. Like the world we need to accept the world, the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We need to accept all of reality. Doesn't mean we can't change reality, but we can't fight that reality is what it is now.
Yeah.
This doesn't determine where we get to go, but it determines where we are now.
Yeah.
And we can't fight reality. We have to like face reality, as much as possible. And I'm a hypocrite in saying that. I fucking smoke weed and drink alcohol. I escape reality. You know what I mean? I'm not, it's not like I'm right with that all the way either, right? But I really do believe that like, people talk about like acceptance, like radical acceptance, like Buddhism, like acceptance. I think it's a step further. I think real acceptance is not just accepting everything, like, oh, I don't like it, but I accept it. It's embracing everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that happened. Okay, yeah, that hurts. And also I embrace that happened. Oh, okay, I got in a car accident. Like that sucks. But now the consequences of that are my reality that I have to embrace if I'm going to get anywhere from here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know it's easy for me to say that as an able-bodied, relatively comfortable person. A lot of people would very, very rightly say, how am I supposed to embrace this horrible situation?
Yeah.
And I get it. I get it. Like, you know what I mean? It's easy for me to say. So I also recognize that it's not for me to say what anybody needs to do to get through, but I also don't know what fighting that horrible situation in your mind is going to do for you. You want to fight it on the ground. Yeah. Let's go. Right? But we still got to face it, even to change it.
Yeah. It's about surrendering.
Surrender.
Like
that's the word.
In Islam, surrender, because it said whatever pass you was meant to pass you, whatever finds you was meant to find you. And because like I look at my life and it was like, I'm gonna be this rapper, I'm gonna be this basketball player. And so the thing is, I had all that. I was one of the top ball players in the Pacific in the Navy. And my buddy who went to the NFL, Troy Vincent, I saw him over in Japan and he was like, "Okay, you need to go to college and you need to go and get to the pros and da-da-da." So when I was like, okay, let me go ahead and do it, I tore my ACL.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then also I come to Seattle. After I got out the Navy, get signed to a record label, put out music. I'm Seattle Hip Hop Artist of the Year in 2003. So the thing is that I still got my dreams. I still play ball at the college level. I'm in a whole different city. People know me from rapping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to embrace, be like, that was meant for me.
That was for you.
Yeah. And like I said, God knows if I would have got signed to a major record label, and who knows what type
17.
of man, but who knows what type of the way they rob these artists,
right?
And the stuff that goes on behind the scenes and stuff, and sometimes, we think we ready for something, but we not. And sometimes God is like, hold on, let me let me keep you away from that. I'm gonna give you just enough.
Yeah.
And could be saving us more heartache, more more trauma.
Yeah.
Because to hear these stories that's coming out now about artists and what they go through, it's traumatic. That's why they suffer PTSD. So I feel like you have to surrender and embrace.
Yeah.
And be like, you know what? I'm still doing what I love to do. Yeah, I'm not rocking the stage of 20, 30,000 people.
Not at this moment.
Not at this moment. But the thing is, to get up there and rock and have people like at the record store.
Dude.
Man, that was such a dope show.
So great, man.
Yeah.
And you guys in particular brought such an energy.
Yeah,
like, such
appreciate
a
it.
feeling.
And to have people come up to you and be like, yo, that was so dope. Like these two young girls, they had to be like 19 or 20, and they was like, we love that song Sunshine and stuff.
Yeah.
Too bad my wife wasn't there to see that, but you know, and it's like, where y'all like that and stuff? You know, I'm just documenting my love for my best friend, which is my wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so to see that, I'm like, okay, I'm touching people's lives. So you just have to embrace that and be like, you know, what we say in Islam, alhamdulillah, praise be to God.
Yeah,
Well, if something is good, alhamdulillah. If it's bad, alhamdulillah. You know what I mean? Because I know that, okay, because there's been times when something bad happened, but there was a silver lining, and that bad thing ended up being a blessing.
Absolutely.
You know, when me and my wife were in the condo and we moved to our townhouse, the only reason why we moved, because we didn't think we could afford this townhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Only reason why we moved because the neighbor upstairs, oh my goodness, she wearing her fucking shoes and ga. I'm like, is she bowling upstairs with all this noise and stuff? And so it forced us, like you said, to get out that comfort zone.
Yeah.
It forced us to be like, let's just try.
Yeah.
And we got the townhouse. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the only thing that made us go for that was because it is unpleasant experience. Like,
and you didn't plan for that.
We
didn't
didn't
plan to have that neighbor up there. You may not have even been planning to leave.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, by getting forced into a situation that at first seems really bad,
Yeah.
you end up somewhere better for it. And just the same way, the things that we think of as missed opportunities, you don't know how those would have gone. You know, like I have friends that lament all these past relationships, all these things that didn't work out. You think that you would have been happily ever after, but like there's no evidence for that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you might just be in the best position you could possibly be in because you're okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not guaranteed under some alternate, you know, multiverse reality of life that would be true.
True. Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah.
So again, it's just surrendering, and it's like you said, embracing it. Okay, this is what it is. You know, I got to go through this. You know, and I think another thing about with the depression, anxiety, and stuff is about hope. On my way here, I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about how the young people in America, they losing hope. They don't have any hope, and I think that's the biggest problem right there. If you don't have hope, you're liable to do whatever. Like we see these mass shootings. We see, you know, people doing things, and they don't have hope. They don't, you know. So I don't know. It's just hard to hear that. You know, fortunately, like I said, my kids, you know, we raised some good kids, and even though it's still kind of crazy how they don't go out, especially the middle and the young, they homebodies, which I'm like, thank God, because at 22. I was out there doing, I was out there ripping and running. Yeah. You know, I was in the Navy. So, you know, you think about stories of sailors and shit. My wife be like, man, don't even tell me. Don't even tell me them sea stories up in this. You know, so I'm happy that they're not out ripping and running, you know, because you don't know what could happen.
Sure.
I already had my eldest got stopped by a cop because he's had a nice car, and the cop was messing with him. Fortunately, another cop came who knew my son.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm glad it was the eldest and not the middle one, because the middle one has mouth, and he would have been like, what the fuck you stopped me for? And da-da-da, and who knows?
Yeah.
You know, so I'm fortunate that, you know, we had some good kids, but to hear that so many kids feel that there's no hope, like you said about the cost of living is crazy. Even jobs, like it used to be, and that's what they was talking about, the American dream, where it's like work hard and you'll succeed.
You get a nice life. You get a comfortable life.
But
normal shit.
Yeah, but
right?
That's not
home.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're not talking all the money in the world. We're not talking about, Uncle Phil's house. Like, we're talking about normal stuff here.
Yeah.
Becoming inaccessible to entire generations of people,
Yeah.
Like, who grew up with the expectation that was just normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
so how does that affect mental health? Like you saying, like, this was something that was always promised. This is how it is. This is how it is. And then you like, well, hold up. This is not, I'm being lied to. I've been lied to. This is not how it is.
Yeah.
And it kind of crushes. I know that was one thing my wife talked about after COVID. She was like, I feel like I was told a bunch of lies. And now I'm seeing that it's not true. And it kind of messed her up a little bit. She's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So how can a young person, how can they cope when they like, I can't afford a house. I can't afford college education.
Maybe not afford to rent, let alone buy a
Buy,
home.
yeah.
In terms of what that does to mental health, I mean, I think we're seeing it, right? I don't know exactly, but I think we're seeing we're at the changing edge of it right now, right? But I don't think it's been easy for people. And I think the scariest thing is it's not like we're looking back on this big change from after. It's like we can look back on the Depression and be like, oh yeah, the markets crashed and the money got inflated and nobody had enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and we can like look back on it and be like, yeah, and so this is what people had to do. But this change that you're talking about, we're in the middle of. So the uncertainty, I think, is really scary for people. Like, I'm seeing so many people who, for whatever reason, got out of their old jobs, whether by choice or not, and are finding themselves in fields that are just not nearly as like ripe with opportunity. You know what I mean? Despite having education, right? Doing all the things you're supposed to do. You jump through the hoops. You commit to investing up front and building your skills and getting your education, and then bong, you get some kind of career from that. And where that's not happening, it's becoming abundantly clear that that's not going to happen for a lot of people, right? Like that there's just too many people and not enough jobs, more things getting automated, right? A person operating an AI can now do the job of 20 people 10 years ago, right? Like in many fields,
that's
not just like a couple of fields, right? So when you take that and you scale that level of job loss, like nobody knows, right? We were talking about universal basic income around COVID just to keep people from dipping too low, to keep us from having too many people living in abject poverty, because that's obviously nobody wants that. But I don't think anybody knows, man. I don't think it's not like we're looking at it, looking at the Depression from 100 years later, right? Like we're it's like we're going through it, right? And so I'm not surprised that people are struggling with that. Like that's fair. Like that's a very to be afraid is a reasonable response in these conditions of uncertainty. Like that's a fair I'm scared. You know what I mean? Like I do my day job. I have a private practice, and I try to like eke out time to do music. I do a little bit of voice work with Kent, 3-4 jobs, right? Like, and I'm like scraping by. Like, I mean, it's not like I'm scraping by, but like I'm like, I'm not prospering. I don't own a damn house. Like I'm not, what I mean? And the viability of that feels just so distant. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. Like you said, I mean, I guess either our sense of what's normal has to change, or we got to move away. But then even the places that we would move to are becoming, kind of economically gentrified in the same way. So I don't know, man. I think we're all just kind of like in a collective state of like, ooh.
Yeah. That's why. That's why when we start our show, Beats, Blues, and Bars, I had Kent play this one part of Public Enemy song where it said, "Brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to," and I wanted to play that at the beginning because I want people to know we're all in this together. Yeah. Because sure. I think that's another way to deal with this is by knowing that you're not alone. That there's a community, and we might not have the answers, but we're here, whether it's to listen only, or to offer advice, or to let you know, no, you ain't the only one.
Sure.
Sure.
And And there may be a lot of positive consequences to this, or like positive changes that we will be forced into. Like you said, you have your shitty upstairs neighbor. That's like a bad situation that forces you into a better situation. You know, this may force us to reinvest in community, right? If individual families can't afford to buy homes, what's going to happen? Groups of people are going to start doing that. We may see a return to a more kind of set of norms where our lives are more shared and less individualistic, right?
Yeah.
We might have to start actually depending on each other, which is like not what our economic system and the culture that springs from it are telling us success looks like. We've been told that it's only success if you do it on your own. Since when?
Yeah.
Since when? That's a very recent way of looking at things. You know what I mean? Like in most societies in history, it's been normal to depend on the other people in your community, and that's healthy. Right? To get involved in all kinds of exchange and sharing and reciprocity and collective living, and like, you know, like this whole idea of like the self-made person and the rugged individual is like very American and very new, right? And so and it's just proving to be so unsustainable right now. But also it's what we grew up with, right? Like, you know, I love Kent. I don't need him like in my bathroom in the morning, but that might be what we have to learn to do, right? Like, you know, like on some level, right? Might be to actually like share the limited resources.
Yeah. And because I know when Trump was talking about this whole 51st state and stuff, it seemed like that negative energy galvanized Canadians to be like, because my wife was like, man, fuck that, I ain't buying nothing U.S. and it's
not crossing the border anymore.
She hasn't since I go across because my kids and my mom and stuff, and you know,
gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, but she's like, she told me one time, she's like, do I need to get a gun and stand and protect Canada? I was like,
chill.
for real. She turned a Phoenix Shakur out this month.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, because of that wolf.
Yeah.
It forced people to be like, hey, let's look towards each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's support local.
Yeah.
Let's knock down some of these trade barriers in between, you know, like provinces and work together.
For real.
You know, so again, like you said, maybe reimagining the thing instead of just looking at it like, what the fuck is this? Okay, let's work together. Right. You know, I was talking to a friend who just she relaunched her clothing store, and she was saying that when COVID hit, it forced her to have to start dealing with Canadian companies, because a lot of her stuff was in the States. So COVID hit and it forced her to change her model a little bit. And now with these tariffs, people are getting hit. She's okay because she already
adjusted. To work with other Canadian partners. Yeah.
So like you said, it might be an adjustment period.
Sure.
You know, because again, some of the things that was told to us wasn't true, so we have to reimagine what is success. What is happiness?
Yeah.
You know, not this Hollywood.
Right.
Because I remember I gotta have a big house. I gotta have 5 cars. You know, and no, that's not it.
You don't need to. Yeah. Exactly.
But people get depressed though, because they feel like this is what I'm supposed to have. This is what they said I'm supposed to have, and if I don't have it, then I'm a loser.
Yeah. You're
know?
like, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is the dream. This is what society, this is what normal people are living, and you feel on the outside of that. But I think what we're increasingly seeing is that like most people feel like they're on the outside of that now.
Yeah.
But we're so individualized that we might not even realize that actually our experience of feeling like we're alone on the outside is more normal than feeling like you fit in and are on the inside. Vancouver's a weird one because we do have a lot of rich people here. You know what I mean? It's just different. You go to Seattle, you go to, Kamloops, you go to, even just a little bit out of town and you see regular cars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see 2004 Volvos and like it's not all Teslas and Audis. You know what I mean? And like Mercedes, it's weird here. We lose perspective sometimes, I think. You know what I mean? About like how most people are living, right? But also I feel like, we get fed the same images through media as well that tell us, okay, this is what you're supposed to be. This is what being a successful man looks like. This is what being an adult looks like. This is what being, whatever, a professional looks like. And so many people are excluded from that. And of course, if you feel like you can't do what society rewards, like, I've heard that in Japan it's way more extreme than that. Even like people who can't cut it sort of stay inside.
Can't get into college and they like killing themselves and stuff.
Yeah, it's like you just never leave the crib. Like, what I mean? Like, and we see a lot of that now too. Like I hear about more and more people being really way more indoors. You know what I mean? Because maybe it just doesn't feel like there's that much out for you. And again, some of this is just me being old and of a certain generation, right? Where I am just noticing difference. Yeah. Right? So it's not necessarily worse. I don't want to like catastrophize everything or, you know what I mean? Like make everything sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like pathologize everything, right? Yeah. But maybe it's just different. Like the video games weren't that good when I was growing up. You couldn't hang out with your friends on your PC playing a game. That was kind of something you'd have to have them over. And so you just go do other stuff sometimes, right? Now you can hang out with your friends all day, every day without any of you actually
seeing each other. You just talking mess on the
but who's to say that? But who's to say that that's not great connection and really fun and really like those relationships aren't like I hang out with younger people and they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm going to see my friend. And they'll be like, oh, where do you know them from? They're like, oh yeah, we met online. We met on Tumblr. You know what I mean? And then like, but now they're like friends. Like I don't have any friends that I have maybe one friend that I like met randomly over the internet. But really, it's like no, everybody else was like outside. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. So let me ask you this: how you doing? So since we're talking about mental health and stuff, and I always wondered the impact of marketing and promoting for years and years, like ever since we were born, like we're talking about, we've been given these images of what success is supposed to look like. And like, what does that do like to a person coming up and you feel like, you just been bombarded with this imagery of success. And if you don't fit that, like it messes with you. Like, do you notice that in your practice? Like you're saying, there's this story that people tell themselves. Yeah. Where's the story coming from? Who? Yeah, it's coming from us from inside, but who provided the script? Yeah,
it didn't come from nowhere, right? Yeah, of course. I think we're impacted at different levels, right? There's the level of yourself. And then the people closest to you, right? Your family and your good friends, and then like your community around you. But then there's the much bigger wraparound level of like the culture, right? And you don't control that. You can control the people around you. You can control certain things. You can control what parts of the culture you take in. But a lot of it you're just kind of subject to. Right. And I mean, I don't really know what that does to people. I mean, I'm sure it's done something different to you than to me, and everyone carries it differently. But I would imagine that it can set some pretty unrealistic expectations for what life is supposed to look like. They don't show you like in the marketing and in even TV and movies. Well, TV and movies have gotten better at that, but like they don't show you the mundanity of life. They don't show you the frustration and the stuckness, right? And so you feel those things and you don't have a frame of reference to normalize that. And maybe if you're impressionable, you think that there's something wrong with me, right? Why can't I just be happy like everyone else? I've heard so many people say that everyone else is able to deal. And sometimes I just have to kind of shake them and say like, bro, like, I hardly know anyone who's dealing well. Even the people who are like dealing well, ostensibly, are working at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And are struggling as much of the time as they're not.
Yeah.
You know, or you know, they are hurting just as much as you, right? Like just kind of just like to not believe the hype.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, you know, the classic thing they say about social media is like people are posting the greatest hits. Right? Yeah. Like you're not posting necessarily like, you know, when you've dinged your bumper on that, post in the parking garage.
Except for my boy Sharon. Sharon keeps it real. He let you know. If he's fucked up, he let you know and shit.
That's good. Yeah, take accountability.
But for the most part, people they only show their highlights.
Yeah, and
people start thinking, oh man, he just living life. Why can't my life just be this constant highlight? They don't show you, like you said, the mundane and.
And we were talking about marketing, right? Like, what is the purpose of marketing? The purpose of marketing is to get you to buy things. To get you to buy things, they got to get you to want things. You don't get people to want things by encouraging them to be happy with what they already have, right? Like, wanting shit is antithetical to happiness in the Buddhist worldview. Right? Like it's the cycle of wanting and getting things and then wanting more things and then getting them and then wanting more stuff is actually the earthly cycle of unhappiness. The thing that generates all discontent, right? Is non-acceptance and desire, right? They say desire is the root of unhappiness, right? And so like if we're to take that as if it were true for a second and look at something like marketing, it's an unhappiness generating machine, right? Yeah. Because that's what serves the interest of the people hiring the marketer.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, because it's about, with marketing stuff, it's about making you feel like you're less than, so you'll buy this product.
Yeah.
So what does that do to a kid when you constantly are taught to feel less than because they need you to buy this thing, know? And again, I wonder what we look back at this years from now and be like, man, we was really causing so much strife and stress and anxiety with what we were doing. But like you said, it's just normal. So
but that's hard to quantify, right?
Yeah.
And that's maybe not even maybe not a lot of value is put on that in the eyes of this economic system, right? This economic system measures success in terms of growth. Right? And so growth requires
GDP.
People spending money. We're not measuring for happiness. So that's probably why we're ignoring when it goes down, right? Until there become measurable outcomes like, oh, okay, more people are checking into the hospital, more people are attempting or committing suicide, more people are, reporting depression. Then all of a sudden we got some like metrics and we can, and now I think we are starting to like
look at those.
Look at those, right? Yeah, but I think we've been in this interesting period, and stuff is always changing. But I think this last period we've been in of whatever you want to call it, neoliberalism, late capitalism, or whatever, from like kind of the 80s onward, has been this radical experiment on what if we just focused on the bottom line and said to hell with everything else. And now we're really seeing the shortcomings of that. But this has been 50 years in the making. Right? We've been doing an experiment on ourselves about like, what happens when we just, focus on measuring economic growth as the sole kind of important, sort of metric in society.
Yeah.
And like, surprise,
So like you said, maybe that's going to cause us to look at these different things now, because we like, okay, that's not it. We need to be looking at other metrics to really get a good sense of what is happiness, what is content. So.
And we might reject our oligarchs in that process, same way they did in, the French Revolution, right? Like, like you're
making them nervous when you.
They realized that these people were controlling them, right? Now we're starting to realize that the corporatists are controlling us, and they didn't just politely ask them to leave; they guillotined them in the street. Right? It wasn't fun.
They was out there being Luigi out this.
And I'm not saying that, like, of course, like, I do value every human life, and I'm not out here like advocating for like violence, right? But I do think that it's like it will take like a widespread rejection of the things we've been assuming to be true and normal. Like, and I think we're actually getting toward that point where we are starting like increasingly to recognize, like you said, kind of some of those those lies that have become normalized about what a good life is supposed to be and how we're supposed to move in the world in order to like be good people. Because we want, like, our nature, I think, is very caring.
Yeah.
I think we want to see other people happy. The people I meet, yeah, sure, the system sucks. The majority of the people I meet, and I don't just mean clients, I mean people out of the world. I talk to people all day long. Like, I choose to talk to people. I'm a social guy. The vast majority of people I meet are fucking lovely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really think our nature is to be really good to each other and to care for each other and to want to see not just ourselves but other people well.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that's part of the reason there's so much unhappiness is kind of we're in a system that forces us to work against our own nature by focusing so much on ourselves. Yeah. When I actually think it is our nature. We want
to serve others.
Yeah. But we've been told maybe, and I know we're running out of time, but I do think in some ways we've been told explicitly and implicitly that that's not important. And as such, we've descended to a place of real unwellness for a lot of people. Because we've had our avenues for caring cut off. Yeah.
Man, this has been real deep discussion, man. We can do this for. We definitely gonna have to have you back and talk more on this. But for now, Imperfectionist.
The Imperfectionist.
So when is it coming out again?
Coming out on all platforms Thursday, the 18th of September. So 2 weeks from today. I believe it's Thursday. It's the 18th of September for sure. And then
the release party
at the Wise Lounge. Adenac in Victoria. I'm forgetting the address, but the Wise Lounge, WISE, Wise Lounge downstairs, Tuesday, September 23rd. We have a great lineup too. We got Jacob Evolved, Francis Arevalo, my very dear friend Jonah Ocean, and me and K-Rec performing. So hope to see you there. And real quick, I just want to give a big shout out to Beats, Blues, and Bars and yourself, but also the group and just this great moment you guys are having, this real blossoming of that group. I'm seeing you getting picked up on all these amazing shows, playing with like all kinds of different artists, and way beyond hip hop and way beyond kind of the true school of hip hop even. And that's just so dope to see because you guys are an amazing group. Everyone in the group, like shout out Maxie, shout out Noah, shout out K-Rec. Like, man, Noah is so nice with it, man. Like I'd seen him with Tugstar. Yeah. But that's like a 15-person band or a 10-person band. So seeing him and actually getting to hear his playing, like how in the pocket and crazy he is like such a joy, you know. So anyway, just want to shout out Beats, Blues, and Bars, and I'm just so happy to see the success. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Thank you. And where can people find you?
Nigel Mojica on Instagram, and all the music is going to be up on the platforms on the 18th. The Imperfectionist, Nige and K-Rec is the album, and Nigel Mojica, NIGELMOJICA on Instagram, and East Van. You find me out there.
All right. So once again, thank you, bro.
Thank you, man.
And this is Beyond the Lyrics, and we're out. So the next group can come in and set up and get ready.
Out of here.
All right. Peace.